Hello everyone. Before I start my talk, I need to ask, is every one of you here out of free will? Please, hands up. Okay, so it's not my responsibility if any of this content will scare you and you will have nightmares and later off some heart issues. It's not my fault, okay? So, let's start. The graveyard of DevOps. When I prepared my talk, I just took a look at the amounts of DevOps days which had happened over the last years. And you see an enormous change from going from 4, 6, 5 over to about 20, and then suddenly we have 42, 52, and this year 71. And you can see that for 2019, we have already 28 DevOps days which are planned and scheduled. So this is amazing, we might think. But it can also be a trap for us. So, and yeah, we are here at Dynamic Earth, by the way, a very, very wonderful venue, and I hope you all have been to the exhibition sometime. I have been there several times. It's crazy. Yeah, it's really crazy. So, but when we look at the DevOps days and the amount of DevOps days which are happening today, we can say DevOps, the idea of DevOps, someone started from a niche and then it went over to a hype, and I think it's on the way to become mainstream. And the question is, will it be a standard later? Or will it go back to some kind of unimportance because something new came up, or because a lot of companies who tried to adopt DevOps failed on their way? This is the question. And I have an example, which is Scrum. Yeah? When you talk to people who are doing Scrum, I often ask, okay, who's your Scrum Master? Oh, we don't need one. So, who is the product owner? Yeah, it's me talking with the customer. Yeah, how many people on your team? Yeah, it's me. So, what's that about Scrum? And when you look at Scrum, Scrum has a Scrum guide, and you can take the Scrum guide more or less as a checklist. We learned less about checklists yesterday. It's a good thing. And you can go through it, and you see what you have to do to make Scrum being successful. It's not that easy, but it's helpful. And then I asked, have you ever heard of the Agile Manifesto before? Oh, I'm not interested in political stuff. Yeah? But this is the basis of Agile and Scrum and a little bit about DevOps. So you need to understand it. And whenever things come from a hype and go to mainstream, there is a danger that people do not think any longer about what they are really doing. They just try to copy what others are doing. And with DevOps, we don't have this guide, this checklist we can go through. We need to have a closer look. How are we working? What is the thing we can improve? And how can we improve it for ourselves? It is a very individual approach for every team, for every company. Yeah? So there's a difference in doing just Scrum or doing DevOps. You need to think, what are we doing and why? So, we need to be aware of this danger whenever we are just following a hype or mainstream. So who am I to say this? My name is Sabine Wojcieszak. I'm from Germany. And yeah, we try to help companies to enable them to find the solutions, to collaborate in a better way, to change things and make life easier and more successful. And by the way, we are also organizing DevOps Days Kiel. So let's have a look at the graveyard of DevOps. Our DevOps initiative died in August 2018 because of the why. What does this mean? So the why can be, on the one hand, DevOps is the best way for us to do our work. It's the best way for us to do our best business. On the other hand, it can be, yeah, it's because everyone is doing it. And we need to do it because we will not find new employees if we don't do DevOps. And there can be a lot of whys we are doing it in between those both sides of the story. So let's have a look, for example, what can be the motivation in the management? Work harder, ship faster, and with less cost because you're using a lot of open source products. It's not true, but this is the belief of a lot of people, especially business people. Open source does not cost anything, so it's cheap. Yeah? And ship faster. Faster, faster, faster. Maybe. And the team might think, okay, we have less stress when we're doing DevOps. It's all about well-being, yeah? No burnout anymore, all those stuff. We can use cool tools. Tools are very important for DevOps. That's great. And we can automate everything, so we don't need to work anymore and have a lot of time for experiments. So we have this management and this team. Both sides have expectations. But these expectations do not match. Both sides will be disappointed. However, it will work doing DevOps for them. Perhaps the team will be disappointed because the manager says, go on, we need to be faster, we need to be faster. And they hope for less stress. And the management will be disappointed when the team says, no, we need to try out, we need to do some experiments before we know what is the best way to be faster. I have an example. One of our customers is a wind energy company. And they have a lot of engineers there working on the software to run all this stuff. And one team wanted to do DevOps. And they go over to the management and say, hey, we want to do DevOps. But they stay tuned and they go on and always said, we want to do DevOps. And someday the management said, okay, go on, do it. And they were very happy, very engaged, very motivated. But the problem starts whenever they went on because they needed something and they asked the management, hey, we need more time to do this. The management said, no. We need a new tool. No. We need some money for workshop. No. You can imagine the motivation went down. And the other teams around, also IT teams, were making jokes on them. Oh, go to your playground. You have all the sticky notes on your walls. Go there, do some experiments, play around. We are doing the real work for you. You can imagine after 1.5 years, no one was interested to do DevOps anymore in this company. So the lack of management support here killed the motivation and the initiative to do it in another way. To be honest, when we talk about DevOps, a lot of people say, yes, it's about well-being, it's about culture, it's right. It's about automation, it's absolutely right. It's about measuring, true. It's about sharing, yes. It's about delivering customer value, yeah. But I want to use another word, a word which for me seems to be banned in the IT industry, and this is business. At the end, you are doing DevOps because you need to do business. Someone has to be there who's paying the bills. Someone has to be there who is paying the money with which you are paid. Or are you all working without getting anything out of it? Just for fun? It's great. Then we should all do DevOps. So business is at the end the purpose of doing DevOps. Everything is needed for doing it. Everything below, it's needed to be successful in doing business. But at the end, it's business. And even if you are from tech and you are loving to code, writing lines of codes, you always have to think about what is the business outcome of it. It's the task of everyone. So, frustration is one of the killer in this case of the why. It's demotivation, it's the passive role people take when things go wrong. It is failure, which are happening because people are not engaged anymore, so why should I care about failure? And at the end, we do not have improvement, but improvement, continuous improvement, we learned yesterday, is one of the core things about DevOps, improving continuously. But when we kill all the other things we need for improvement, improvement will not happen. Our DevOps initiative, which was killed softly by our culture, somewhere in 2018. So we have heard about culture and the importance. The question is, what kind of culture do you have? The more helping one or the more blaming one? I guess if you start at the point where the culture is more the blaming one, it will be really, really hard to introduce DevOps in your team because no one will understand what you are talking about. Helping each other, sharing ideas. My knowledge was the important stuff to save my seat here in this company. Why shall I share this? Perhaps you all know these yes but discussions. We want to improve, so we need to discuss things. We want to experiment, so we need to discuss things. But have you ever discussed with someone who is always answering with yes but? And the worst case about this, these persons most of the time become offended again and again and again when you try to explain what you are reaching out for. So you might say, okay, this is a question of communication when people always answer with yes but. And you're right, it's a question of communication. But communication also has two parts. The one who is sending a message and the one who is receiving the message. And Thomas A. Harris, a psychologist who was one of the founders of the transactional analysis, said we have 4 points, 4 attitudes of life, and the only helpful in business is I am okay, you are okay. But this is also the attitude all people in the team need. If I go to a communication workshop, which is great, and I learn how to communicate in a non-violent way, and where I learn that the I am okay, you are okay one is the most important thing. It's nice for me, but I come back to the team. And there's one who has the attitude of, I am okay, but you are not okay. It does not make sense. So whenever we talk about we need to improve our communication and we need to think about how we behave with each other, it's also a task for everyone, not only for one single person in the team. Yeah. This is John Willis, and we heard in the last 2 days about CAMS, Culture, Automation, Measurement, and Sharing. And later on, Jess Humble added the L for Lean. Now we have Culture, Automation, Lean, Measurement, and Sharing. And John said once, if you can't get the C, don't bother with the A, the M, and the S. If you can't deal with the culture and establish a culture which is supporting DevOps, don't start with the rest. It will not work. If you have a culture of blame and you start to measure everything, it's impossible. People will feel controlled. Yeah? So measurement, you can use measurement for good, but you can also use it for bad. And in the culture, with bad habits, everyone feel it is a bad approach. So, although culture is not the only thing, it's really important and it's the foundation for the DevOps approach later. So again, we have frustration, we have demotivation according to culture. We have no improvement because people cannot lead open discussions or discuss about new ideas. And be sure the best employees will quit somewhere, sooner or later. Our DevOps initiative starts because of decision-making behavior in our company. So please have in mind, this DevOps should be a little bit about being faster. Yeah? Being faster. One question which occurs again and again is decisions. Should they be made top-down or bottom-up? My answer always is, it depends. It depends on the context. But there's also another answer, why not together? So, should a DevOps if an initiative started top-down or bottom-up? Why not together? Why not discuss it together and find the way? And when you have read things about DevOps, there's one thing about where are decisions made? There, where the work is done. Which means for management, I have to give the freedom of making decisions to the people in the team to decide about stuff they need for the daily work. You know, all these endless discussions about wrong or right, adding a lot of assumptions, and it goes around, no, this is right, no, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong. What is helpful is always the Occam's razor approach, which is also used in science, which means among competing hypotheses, the one with the fewest assumptions should be selected. When we want to do some experiments, why not choosing the approach which seems to deliver a faster answer? Perhaps it's the right answer we need. Perhaps we have to throw it away, but then we were very fast. Instead of arguing again and again, which is wrong, which is right, which is wrong, which is right. If you don't know it, it does not make sense to discuss it. Find it out as soon as possible. So ask yourself, how long is our lead time for making decisions? You want to be faster. And if the lead time gets very long, you are slowing yourself down, and DevOps is not DevOps anymore. So if your decision making is more or less like The Walking Dead, which comes up again and again and going around, it's the death of ideas, it's the death of improvement, and it's also the death of innovation. And to be honest, improvement is great. But from time to time, we need some innovative ideas. Future is coming. You can't stop it. Yeah, and DevOps died in the captivity of tools. The question is, do you have tools or do you need tools? There's a difference between to have and to need. Yes, you need tools. You need the right tools. And if you have not enough tools or the wrong tool, you can see it like Maslow's law of instruments. If the only tool you have is a hammer, then every problem tends to be a nail. If you only have one tool, you try to solve everything with it. If you have the wrong tool, you try to solve everything with it. And this is time consuming and not very successful at the end. So, one example, we have a team who wanted to work on code quality, and they built in the pipeline static code analysis with some tool. And whenever they go to a meeting with other stakeholders, they told them, yes, we have implemented static code analysis in our pipeline. And then we opened the list and we saw lists, pages full of warnings. And we said, what are you doing with this? Nothing. Why not? Yeah, so many, we don't know what to do. But you tell everyone that you are using it. Yeah, but use me also mean do something about it. Yeah, we turned off the notifications. Okay, does it make sense? No, this is more just to, we have it, not to need it or to use it. So, to have is not the same as to need and not the same as to use. If you need it and you have it, you also have to use it. This is very important. By the way, do you know this manual field guide for simple sabotage? It's from the OSS, it's later CIA, and they wrote a manual how people, normal people, can sabotage the whole process, the whole productivity of their companies. It was published in the Second World War. It's available now on the CIA website and everywhere in the net. It's interesting when you read this and you don't know in which time this was written. You sometimes have the imagination that it is written in some company, perhaps some company you know, some team you know, because there are a lot of introductions what you can do to harm your improvement, your changes, and your productivity. So when you use a tool, always think, how much time do we need to support our tool, to care for our tool? And then ask the question, what is the main purpose of this tool? To care about the tool, or to help us to deliver what we have to deliver? So if you spend too much time on working on the tool, not with the tool, it's definitely the time to think about it. So again, frustration, demotivation, no improvement. With the wrong tools, it does not work. It's a waste of time working with the wrong tools, with too much tools or too less tools. And again, the best people will go. Because in these times, they know they will find another position very easily. Yeah, our DevOps initiative died whilst hoping for the DevOps engineer to fix everything. I got a message via LinkedIn. Some guy wrote me, "We want you. Are you interested in a new job?" I'm always interested in everything. So I said, okay, tell me more about this. And perhaps you all know this job offers via LinkedIn. And he sent me an email. This is just an example, yeah? The list went on. Longer, not too much for one slide. And so I said, okay, let's talk about this. They were looking for a DevOps consultant. A DevOps consultant. And in an interview, he told me, yeah, 3.5 months for the bank. And I said, okay, so 3.5 months doing all those stuff. What about teamwork? No, you should do this. Okay. So what about decisions in the team? No, you should decide it perhaps with the management. Okay. So what about team training? No, because you have done everything, so it works. I said, no. No, definitely no. And yeah, this is the question. What about this DevOps engineer who can do everything? On the one hand, DevOps is about we don't need superheroes anymore. We want to work as a team. We want to be able to fix problems even if one is not there. Why should I need a superhero who can do anything? Yeah, so it does not make sense. Jack Ma said a few days ago, I don't look for experts. There are no experts of the future. They are all experts of yesterday. And whatever we do lies in the future. What we need are people who are willing to learn, who are willing to engage themselves, and who are willing to fail and learn something new. We don't need those experts who can do anything. They can do it perhaps now. But what happens tomorrow if we make other decisions? So, for me, this is hiring with wrong requirements, and this is a no-go for DevOps. For me, it's more hiring as a team task. Ask the team what they need. Ask the team which person is the perfect match for them. The person they want to share their knowledge. The person they want to spend time on for the onboarding. It's the team who has to do this extra work at the beginning. Yeah? So, again, it's frustrating if you're waiting for this DevOps super duper engineer. It's demotivating. People are not interested in helping those new people. No sharing will happen, and again, other people will quit. Perhaps you have realized that I have taken some pictures on Greyfriars Churchyard, and perhaps you are thinking, why is she not talking about Bobby? Greyfriars Bobby because it's famous all over Edinburgh. Everyone knows Greyfriars Bobby. When I came to my first DevOps days, I'm not a tech person, and I was wondering, why are all these so logical thinking engineers talking about unicorns? What's happening there? Are they crazy or what? So all these companies like Facebook, Netflix, and however you want to add. It's again the questions. Are these superhero companies, these unicorn heroes, a good example for the common company? The company, the small company, the mid-sized company. Is this motivating to hear all those stories, or is this a good excuse why it's not the best approach for us? We all like to hear these stories about the superheroes. It's nice. It's wow. But do we really want to be a superhero? I don't know. Most of us are afraid of being a superhero. Cool. Very crazy situations we have to solve. So, yeah, most of us are afraid of being a superhero. But DevOps is not only an approach for those super companies who can build up their code from the scratch. It's also a solution for companies with legacy code who want to improve. It is a solution for smaller companies as well as for big companies. And if we only have those unicorn examples in our mind, it can be the reason why some say, oh, they have so much money, they have the best people, so we can't do this. And exactly this was what Adrian Cockcroft once said on a conference when someone else asked him, yeah, we cannot do this cool stuff Netflix do because we don't have the people. And Adrian Cockcroft answered, we got those people from you and got out of their way and let them do their job. Yeah? So we have the right people. The question is, what are we doing in our company, in our environment with these people? Are we motivating them or are we demotivating them? And most expensive in all these stories why DevOps initiative died is that these stories are made to stick in your brain. They will stay there. They will stay in the brain of the employees. And when the next initiative should be started after DevOps died, they would say, okay, let's wait and see if something will really change here. So all these experiences of changes who failed will influence the next initiative in your team and your company. All I want to do is that you think about why are we doing this and how are we doing it. Thank you very much.